Hey, y'all. Welcome to my new experimental series that I'm trying out. Okay, we're gonna try this name, the story behind the story. We're gonna see how this is a trial, let's try it out, see how we feel about the name, maybe come up with something more creative later. But for the meantime, that's the name we're gonna go with. I was experimenting with matter of fact, I'm gonna do y'all. These are the names and y'all tell me the name that y'all are like, yes. Tell me the name that you're feeling more and we'll see. We'll see. Let me know what y'all think. Okay. So the names that I was looking at for, kind of deciding the story behind the story. So how'd you get that story? Or tell me how it happened. I kind of like tell me how it happened in a way, or inside the byline. If you know what a byline is, for those who maybe don't know, in a magazine, specifically, I'll even say more a print magazine, like the byline is like who the story is by. So, you will see you're by Erica Bates on an article or something that you wrote. That is your byline. That's what's considered a byline. So inside the byline. So maybe like who, because this series that I'm doing, it's kind of like gonna be I want to be like a networking, celebration of magazines, print journalism, those who came before me, kind of paving the way for those superheroes in my eyes that I personally looked up to and I grew up watching and reading. And I want to talk about journalism. Okay. And so, because now, of course, like I told you guys, I know who I am, who I've always been. I've remembered who I am and I'm firm in who I am. And so I want to talk about all the things. And so I hope this doesn't bore y'all, but I hope y'all are here to stay and y'all are down for the ride and for this journey, cause for, everybody, journalism is, it's exciting for me, but it might not be exciting for you. Right. But along the way, you will learn. I hope that you're inspired. I hope that you're entertained and educated. And, in some form or fashion throughout this series. So whether I have people on, whether I'm talking and sharing my own story, or whether I have guests on that pave the way for me, or just those that I look up to that may be peers, whatever the case may be, I just hope you're here to take it all in, please. I hope. Yay! Okay. So let's get into this. So this episode that I want to do, first of all, let's acknowledge the background. I always love a background. Matter of fact, this is so raw, you guys. It's funny this says raw and uncut. This is so raw and uncut right now that honestly, I don't even have we're playing with the name. I don't even have a logo. I don't even have a thumb. I haven't came up with the thumbnail, the logo for the, I don't know what any of this is going to look like, but I came up with this background. This is a picture that I actually took. This is literally, it's funny because it almost looked like the exact color of my nails right now. But this picture is not a recent picture. I took that picture back in, it says 2020. Okay. This is a picture I actually took. You can see I have the same thumb ring. Okay. Same thumb ring. So that's my picture that I took of the book, one of my favorite books. First of all, Vibe magazine. If you know me, you know I love Vibe magazine. Maybe, matter of fact, you probably don't know. You probably don't know because y'all wouldn't know. But if you know me personally, or if you know anything about my history and my love for magazines, then you would know Vibe is my favorite. Matter of fact, people that don't know me personally might not even know this because it's not something. I don't know. You should. But like I said, everybody doesn't care about journalism like I do. So they probably don't even think about those details. That's not something that they probably ever paid attention to about me, right? But Vibe magazine is my favorite. This book here is called The Vibe Q, Raw and Uncut. So basically it is, Vibe magazine, Quincy Jones created. This was Quincy Jones's creation, Vibe magazine. So for anybody, if you did not know that, now rest in peace, Quincy Jones, Mr. Jones, put some respect on his name. Y'all know Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones was, let me tell y'all, I don't know that there's anybody else that has had their hands in as much for the extent of time and has had the depth of a career. I don't think there's anybody. Quincy Jones, I think he is the one that's had the depth and the length of a career and had his hands in so much. I mean, nobody, who would have thought that Quincy Jones had his hands in Vibe magazine? Show of hands, comment below and let me know if you knew that. that Quincy Jones created Vibe magazine. So thank you, Quincy, Mr. Jones, not Quincy, but Mr. Jones. He deserves that respect, first of all, first and foremost. So yes, I just, saying first Quincy, but no, he was, even if he was still here, he's an elder. So I would always refer to him, unless he told me personally, call me Quincy. He might have been that cool. I don't know him. I never met him personally, but the respect, I grew up with respect, Mr. Jones, or at least Mr. Quincy but he was an elder, and just, he deserves the respect with all that he's given us, and including this. So anyway, I say all that to say, Vibe magazine, this book is a lot of the cover, not all of the cover stories of the Vibe magazine, some really, really pivotal classic cover stories of vibes that a lot of, I wish I brought the book with me, the actual book, because I have it literally. It's at my parents' house, my house where I'm living right now. It's at home. I didn't even put that in the storage, because that book, I packed a lot. Majority of my books, all of my books, except for a few that mean something to me, are with me. And this one is one of them that's with me at my parents' home. So this book, of course, you can't see all of the covers the way that it is. Matter of fact, so you can't see at the very top, above this row, they've got the Janet Jackson cover. They've got the Death Row cover, of course, with the Suge Knight and Tupac and Dr. Dre and Snoop. They got that cover above this. They got the Jay-Z cover. They got Ice Cube cover. They got George Clinton at the top of this. And then below, at the very bottom of it, they have another Tupac cover. They got is that Foxy Brown? That is Foxy, right? Pretty sure that's Foxy. No, I'm so sorry. Mary J. Blige, look like Foxy. No disrespect. But yeah, they've got, matter of fact, did Foxy ever have a cover for Vibe? I don't know. And it's so funny, because and then Lauryn Hill. And the thing about it is okay, so Vibe started in 92. 93 was the test issue, or 92 was the test issue. Let me get my years right. 93, September 93. Okay. So it was founded in 92, but the first print issue was 93. So I was right. The test issue was in 93. So, which I believe that was the first print issue, was the test issue I believe they're referring to. So I was literally young. I was born in 88. Okay. So I was not around. I was around, but I was a baby. I was young. Okay. So I didn't remember Vibe magazine until I was probably, none of these covers, I don't believe I have any of these like in my collection, because I've read the stories. Obviously the book has the cover stories of all of these that are on here. There's inside this book. The cover stories are in here. You can read them. The byline, who it's by. You can read this book right here. You can still get this book. This is available. You can get this on the Amazon. Look it up. You can find this book if you're interested. I recommend 10 out of 10 recommend, because it's a great book. If you are a Vibe, if you're a magazine, if you're journalism, if you love writing, if you love print magazines, if you love that era of journalism, and if that's attractive to you, this is the book for you. If you want to relive those cover stories and those legendary Vibe stories, like, this is your book, because you're going to be able to read them and who it's by, who wrote this story, who gave us these are, let me tell y'all, I'll get into it, but these people who created these stories are superheroes to me. Like, they don't even know it, but they will, because I hope and I pray that I meet these people, work with these people, collab with them, work for them, work with them, work under, I don't care, just work with them. Okay. A lot of them are still doing amazing things, have moved on to do other things. A lot of them they're still around. And these people are superheroes to me. Thank you for giving us this. And yeah, so anyway, this book is great. That's why I chose to put it in the background, because it's one of my favorite. It is my favorite book. It shows so much, and it gives me a collection of all from my favorite magazine of all time. Because one thing about Vibe was not just music. Vibe covered the culture. Vibe was fashion. Vibe was everything under the umbrella that there was. Black stories, Black amazing, Black entertainment. But not only that, they covered the culture. If it had an impact on this culture, hip hop, music, entertainment, in any facet, in any way, you better believe you might have been on the cover, or you was in this magazine in some capacity. And the people, the staff, so diverse before diverse was a thing. Like they were doing like, come on, y'all. Like, shout out to everybody that's ever walked through the Vibe offices. Like, shout out to all of y'all. And I had the privilege which it was just audio, but to speak with one of my favorite writers, and she knows this. I want to say I told her this, and if not, I hope she sees this. Shaniqua Golding. Not only her, I've talked to, I met, and I interviewed Dayton Thomas for an article I wrote about him for Made magazine some years back when I was doing like freelance for them, for Made magazine. I did an article called All Day, Still King All Day, which play on words. If you know, he was responsible for King magazine, and his name, All Day, Daytwan, Day is his nickname. So Still King All Day was the title of the article. I'm probably going to post that because I don't think that it was in a print. I want to say it was in a print issue, but also I don't even know if it was available online, but I have screenshots. I have the article. So I probably will end up posting that because I want to repost some of my work anyway, just to kind of show what I've done, what I can do. And that's one of the things I think I am going to post. And just to shout out Dayton Thomas, one of my personal favorites of all time. Dayton is so legendary to me. And he's just an amazing, dope ass guy. Like he just seems like everybody's friend. Like I don't even know, does Dayton have enemies? Like in my mind, you cannot dislike Dayton Thomas. But anyway, I digress. Shaniqua Golding, I had the privilege of meeting and talking with her. You know, we following each other's careers. She's, a follower of my, we've been kind of passing each other, but I on social for quite some time. But then last year before, 2024, when I was just doing audio for I Pick Passion, before it was even I Pick Passion and Funny, I actually had the privilege of interviewing her for, talking about her book. And if you don't know, I will shout that out as well, because Shaniqua is doing amazing and dope things. I love Shaniqua Golding. She always, like, she's one of my favorite Vibe, like, writers. She doesn't even, like, I don't even know if she knows that. Like, I follow her career with Vibe, like, very much follow her career with Vibe. And debut 2024 essay collection by journalist Shaniqua Golding. So it's a 200-page book. It's called A Black Girl in the Middle, Essays on Allegedly Figuring It All Out. Tell me about it. So figuring it all out. Her book, I really resonated with that. I don't have the book with me, but I was like, let me shout it out. Let me pull it up so I can give you the exact boom, boom, boom. It's trust me, you guys, you go read it. It's amazing. Shaniqua is amazing. The stories that she tells and the way she tells them is just something to, like I said, she's one of my favorite. I followed her career before this. I've been following her career for a long time. She grew up in Queens. Just an amazing dope writer and creator. Like, shout out to you, Shaniqua. Love you, girl. So anyway, those are the two that come to my mind that I believe I've ever, like, journalists and writers that I can say I followed and looked at their careers that I've actually had the privilege of meeting. Nobody else so far, but I will. And I would love to have Shaniqua Golding back on for a visual, like, because I was at the time, and really talk about her career specifically in Vibe, or just her writing career, like, because I think she's working for Complex now and all the things, like, just what she's done in her writing aside from her book. Yeah, I would love to talk about her book again too, but we talked about that specifically that episode, but when I had her on, but I would love to talk to her just about journalism. So possibly I can make that happen. We're going to see, y'all. We can possibly make that happen. I'd be nervous to talk about, they say never meet your heroes, right? Or the people that if I'm honest, like, these people are superheroes to me, and they really are heroes to me. These are people that paved the way for me. Even though Shaniqua is literally just age doesn't play a part. She's just she's a couple years older than me, maybe 3 years older than me, 3.5, 2.5 years older than me. I forget how old exactly she is, but she's 40. I know she's 40, 41 maybe now. Shaniqua, if I misquote your age, girl, I'm sorry. Like, I know that I know you 40 already for sure. And I am just about to turn 38. So either way, I know she's just a little older than me, but it's not even age. It's just what she's done with her career. And it's like, she's done things that I can't even, like, in my mind, it's funny because we don't think about, as journalists, and it's funny because I thought about this myself, but I've heard others say the same thing. When you think about your story, you don't really think about your story. You think about others, and as journalists, we're so used to telling other people's story. And I heard Danielle Smith, shout out to Danielle Smith. We're not even gonna get started on Danielle Smith. My God, I will talk about her, but let's not even get started. This is not the point for me bringing this up right now. Danielle Smith talked about when she wrote her book, Shine Bright, when she wrote her last, most recent book, she talked about, she put a lot of herself. It's kind of like also a memoir. It was about, women in pop music, but she shared a lot of her story, and it was suggested to her to do that. But she was like, well, my story, like, we're so used to telling other stories that it's kind of like, I do have a story of my own. You forget some of the great things that you've done. And so, I look at, even though Shaniqua and I are kind of like, age-wise, we're right at each other, but she's done things that I can't even imagine. And I'm like super yeah. So Shaniqua, I look up to her, and I'm okay with saying that. And I will say that, continue to say that. But they say never meet your heroes. And I'm like, she was amazing. And Daytwan was too. And I'm like, I aspire to meet all of these people and be in rooms with these people and be friends with these people, even peers, and and I'm like, man, like, you just only hope and pray that there is what you see, the bylines, like the people behind the bylines, like, are they just as amazing and down to earth? And yeah, man, so I want to definitely do some things with this series. I hope you guys, again, are down for the ride. But in the meantime, the plan for this is to do a little bit of a Q&A so you guys can get to know me a little, just to get to know me. I mean, get to know me in this light, though. We've done some get to know me's, but never about my journalism or my love for journalism. So yeah, I hope that you guys, I hope you enjoy this. Like, let me know. So we're going to do some core identity and some reflection questions pertaining to, I hope this doesn't get really lengthy. I might have to break this up. So this might be another episode aside from this. However, because some of these questions, I have a feeling these answers are going to be pretty in depth. So, okay. When did I first realize I love storytelling? Ooh, I don't know if I've talked about it. I feel like I might have dabbled in this a bit, but from the very beginning, you guys, like, honestly, as early as I can remember, I have always loved storytelling. Like, from the moment I could pick up a pen, from the moment I could identify what that was in any way, like, whether it was me creating stories and worlds and characters, because I was always fascinated with that as well. But then on the flip side, I was always fascinated with other people's stories. I was fascinated with learning. I was always inquisitive and wanting to know who this person is. So behind, like, I wanted to know Usher's birthday, not just Usher's music, but who is Usher Raymond? Okay, so what's his birthday? What's his zodiac sign? Like, the things that some people wouldn't care anything about. Like, to this day, I still know his birthday is October 14th. Like, some people would not care about those details. Some people just care about Usher as the music. They just love the music. They know who he is as the artist, but they don't really care about who the person is behind that. I've always cared about the deeper things, the things inside, who this person is, what made them want to do this. Like, I'm the one that had all the questions about those things, and I love telling other stories and making up stories. So as early as I can remember, like, and I was always carrying around books. I was always reading books. I was always carrying magazines. Like, I was the little girl, which this question probably might come up later, but I'm going to answer it now. I was the one who, when you took me to a store and you asked me what did I want, or if you gave me the choice and said, hey, because I used to love animal crackers when I was a little girl. Fun fact. I used to love the animal crackers at the grocery, the animal crackers that had y'all know the animal crackers I'm talking about. The box. What was the brand? Y'all know the animal. Look, I sound like, shout out to Kanisha Bus, comedian Kanisha Bus. Yeah. So I felt like I sounded like her. No shade, Kanisha, but you had a hard time, and you can't say that. You talked about you can't say that word, and I've heard you try to say it, and I said it just like you when I heard you try to say it. But I do know how to say the word, but I was speaking too fast. The animal crackers. Y'all know the brand I'm talking about. They used to be in the stores. It had the little string to the box, and the box kind of looked like, was it a train or a circus or something on it? But anyway, those were the best animal crackers. But if you asked me if I wanted that or a magazine, I'm going to choose a magazine. If you asked me, and I was also a donut, Krispy Kreme girl. If I couldn't get when I went to the store, it was either going to be animal crackers, Krispy Kreme donuts, magazine. Really, I wanted all three. But if you asked me to choose, it was going to be that magazine because I love magazines. From the moment that I knew, like I said, I was later on I didn't get the earlier Vibe issues because by the time, I don't remember the age, I might have been about 5, 6 when I maybe started really. And it was really at that time, honestly, I don't even know if it was Vibe as early at that point because I was more like, the first magazines that I really remember was like, which I know this is probably going to be another question, but I really loved Word Up, Black Beat, Right On. I was a lover of so many magazines. Honey Magazine, if y'all remember Honey Magazine, there were so many magazines, and I feel like I'm gonna miss some because I just loved all magazines. But Vibe, The Source, I mean Double XL, of course, or XXL, Double XL. Man, I was a lover of the culture, music, and so yeah, I really remember early on, it was like Right On, those magazines I used to get. I don't really remember buying a issue of Vibe until even later, or asking when, my mom, like when we used to go to the grocery store, my grandma and my mom or whatever used to buy me. Like, I feel like it was Right On magazines and things at that time. And I couldn't get like all the magazines. They would make me choose, obviously. And like, what does she want a magazine? They didn't understand. Like, but they knew that's what I loved. And I used to carry books. I was known since I was like, could walk to carry a book bag with books and magazines and in my little pocketbook. Like, yeah, y'all. So your girls always love storytelling. Okay. Have I always been a journalist even before I called it that? I guess, yeah. Because like I said, I was inquisitive. I wanted to know the details behind the details, the questions. I had questions. I always wanted to know the story. And so I believe that, before I knew the name, I was a journalist. Yeah, I always have been a writer. Yeah, I do believe I was. What does journalism mean to me today? Well, again, the landscape of journalism, I do believe, has changed tremendously. It's not even what it was for me, or the love that I still have the love for it. But when I think of journalism, I think of the way it used to be more than the way that it is now. Like, I really would love to bring back, and that's why I wrote an article recently about the hope and the prayer that print magazines are making a comeback, because I know we're in this very physical media seems to be coming back, and I wrote about it because I see, and I hear like, okay, we seem to be craving for that way of the way things. And I don't know if it's just nostalgia or if it's not just, I don't believe that it is just nostalgia. I believe it's necessary at this point in time, but I believe it came from a place of nostalgia. I believe it started with that, and I believe it's grown, and I believe we've craving that. And I'm just happy and proud to see that generations behind us are like bringing that back. Like, and I believe it. And they say nothing's new under the sun, right? Everything goes around, it comes back around. And I remember hearing that young, but I've seen it. Like, I've seen things go and come back, like in my lifetime now. I'm old enough now to see that. And it's crazy because I used to hear it. My parents used to say it, but now I'm like, oh, wow, no, that's true. So I just hope and pray that we can get that old thing back. You know what I'm saying? But of course, we will never be able to get it back like it was, but that we can revamp it in a new way, a new era, but yet the way that it was, like print publications. I miss that. I miss that. I miss picking up a magazine. I remember how I miss knowing the new issue of Vibe or The Source or whatever, seeing it on the stands and being like, oh, you just had to pick it up. I miss that feeling. I miss that urgency. That's not there anymore. Everything's at fingertips now. It's just not the same. It doesn't feel as gratifying or rewarding as it used to when you get your hands on it. Because now it's like the accessibility is just there. We almost take it for granted now, but I miss real journalism. So what it is to me, it's storytelling. It is factual. It's opinions, but it's also fact checking. It is, because I do believe in opinions, having an opinion and speaking your opinion, but also backed up with facts. It is integrity. It's passion. It's all the things. Journalism. What is a journalist? A journalist means preserving the culture, in whatever way, because there's so many ways now to do all the things. It's not just print. It is print magazines. It's talking about it. It's visual. It's digital. It's so in any way, whatever way that you because a lot of journalists back then have had to reinvent themselves in this new age, and so it's whatever it is, but at the core, it's the concept it's the way that it used to be, with that still same concept and integrity in mind, but reinvention. So hope that answers that question. What kind of storyteller am I really? I don't know. I feel like I answered that. I am what kind of storyteller? I'm a real storyteller. Like, one thing I always prided myself on is authenticity. I don't know how to be anybody but myself. So I'm going to give opinions based on how it's how I feel. I'm going to talk about things based on maybe how I feel. And when it's time to report and I'm going to fact check. I'm going to talk about it in a way. I'm going to make sure that it's real, but it's real, right? Like, because there's a place to be real when it comes to your opinion, and then there's also being real when it comes to fact checking. And so, and being factual. And again, the integrity of both. So that's the kind of storyteller that I am. I'm real, I'm honest, and I care about the culture. I care about what I'm talking about. Because I'm not going to talk about, I'm passionate about what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm not even going to bother, right? So I care. So that's the kind of storyteller that I am. When do I feel most like myself creatively? I think I feel most like myself creatively when I don't really know. I don't have a when I feel most like myself creatively. When my mind is free, I guess, right? Like when my mind is free, I guess I feel most like myself creatively, right? But how often is it that your mind is ever just free, right? Of everything. So when I love some good jazz music, something like that, turn that on, something with no lyrics, no lyrics preferably, and just write. Or with my coffee. I think I talked about this before. Like when I get my good cup of coffee, my matcha, it's preferably Starbucks. Okay, when I get my Starbucks, I feel like myself most probably creatively when I get that in me, because creative juices just tend to flow. So I don't know. Certain times of the month, I almost feel like I'm more creative than others, and I think that's just being a woman, Sometimes you're having to get yourself out of your own way, When I can get out of my own way, a lot of times that's what it is. That's half the battle. When I can get out of my own way, I feel like myself creatively. Or when I just let it flow and don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Did I ever ignore this part of myself? Why? Yeah. Well, not really ignore. But I guess, like I said, I kind of forgot, but didn't forget who I was. So thank God for my move, because it was a lot came out of the move. Like, I was reminded who I was, who I am. Like, that move the move was, I got to go through a lot of my old stuff, and I got to remember, see, Erica, every part of you, this is literally your entire life. This is who you are. So you've always been. So I was reminded. And so I guess I didn't ignore it, but I took other career paths. I did the traditional things. I didn't pursue like I wish I had, I remember sharing with one of my exes in my early 20s. I met him in 2012. And I remember sharing with him then. I remember sharing with him that I think it was 2012 when I met him. Is that when I was singing in the band? Was it when I was in the band? Was that 2012? Yeah, because I was still working and I was singing and I was also in the band. I think it was 2012, but it feels like it's 2011. Yeah, it had to be 2012. I was about to say 2013. 2012 when I think I met him. Yeah. And I remember sharing with him between 2012 and 2013. I remember sharing with him that I wanted to move to New York, that I was thinking about moving to New York, which wasn't my first time having this thought. But again, always got sidetracked by relationships and life and paying bills and just working, that I ignored the parts that really meant something to me, that I should have took heed of, and I should have done it and took the leap and did it. Because I was younger. I had less responsibilities. I had more time, right? I wasted a lot of time, I feel. So in ways I do, but I think all things happen for a reason, and I'm not kicking myself in the butt for decisions that I made. But I wish I had done things differently. I for sure wish I had done things differently. And when I told him that I wanted to move to New York, and he said, well, well, I'm not basic. He was honest. He was like, well, it's not for me. That's not my dream. That's not what I'm not going. Like, if you want to do that, I support you. Do it. But basically that me and him wouldn't be together. And I cared and wanted our relationship at the time to, I cared about him. I loved him. I had fallen in love with him at that point. And I guess I, in a way, wanted him to support and be like, hey, we can either make it work or, I didn't want to sacrifice my relationship at the time for New York. I didn't want to say, even though I had the dream and to move and to pursue, it was always there in me, but something else always pushed it down. So, but I allowed that. Right. So anyway, yes, I did ignore it, but not really intentionally ignored it. But yeah, I did. Okay. What brought me back to it now? Well, I said it at the move. I was inspired it brought me back to it. That's kind of what led me back. What did this current season of my life reveal about me? Who I am, never to give up, that who I've always been, what I've always been. Like, it's always, it revealed about me that I got this. I've always had it. Like, Erica, you got this. Like, you always have. Like, it's okay. It's going to be okay, and yeah, just who I am is what it's revealed about me, who I am and who I've always been. Yeah. So, all right. What were early signs that I was a storyteller? I feel like some of these questions are kind of repetitive, but we're going to go with it anyway, right? Just a little bit. What were early signs that I was a storyteller? I don't really know. Early signs, besides what I think I've already said, early signs were my curiosity about people and things. And, I used to mimic people. I used to mimic my aunt, I used to mimic her, like, I was just curious and fascinated with people and reading books, magazines, writing of my own, like writing before I even knew and was told like, oh, you actually are good at this. Like, this is a thing. Like, you are a good storyteller. You tell stories well. Like, I think those were all early signs. What moments in my life felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing? So many moments in my life. Everything that I just said, like, there have been so many moments that it just how good it feels, how it feels, like what moments in my life felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Every moment that's always, when I got out of high school, it's so funny because I wish, and I was kind of not mad at myself, but I didn't do things in school. Like, I didn't write for the newspaper. I didn't do like yearbook. I didn't do any of those things. Communications. They had this communications, like, each school had like a specialty. I forget the name of what it was, but it was like a specialty that school kind of like taught. Each high school had like center for this, center for that. We had communications. So people would come to our school whether you were there or not. You could attend, of course, being at my high school, you could attend, but then also people would come to our school or, however, people from my school would go to other schools for whatever their specialty was. But we specialized in communications at my high school. And how and why I never ignoring parts of who I was, right? Ignoring it. Back to that question. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The fact that is exactly what I should have done. Like, why didn't I ever do communications? I got out of high school and literally wanted to get into radio. And I did. I interned at Power 92. Well, I remember trying to go the traditional intern route. And I remember contacting and calling and going up there. I remember interviewing and with the production, I think, manager, or I don't even remember at the time, but I remember just, trying my best to get my foot in the door, like opportunities, jobs. Really, I wanted a job. And I end up I remember talking to, it's been so many moments, like the persistence. Like, I remember just, again, back in the day, like thinking about the way things used to be, and you could just call and, people knew your name, that persistent. And I was always very persistent about like what I wanted to do at that point and pursuing that with reckless abandon, like not reckless abandon, because I wasn't being reckless, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I was very much like I want this. And I'm going to call every single day, and show and I remember being like complimented on like my persistence, because it was like, they saw that I wanted it. Right. And I remember in the interview, I remember talking to, shout out to TT Torres, and she, radio personality, media personality, like look her up, TT Torres. She was in Richmond at the time. Wasn't from Richmond, but she was working at Power 92. I want to say she was her 10 to 3 slot. I want to say she had back then. Either way, I remember her being here. I remember her coming in, walking into my interview. And I remember her sitting down over listening to my interview. And I remember her giving me, at the time, blogging was a real big thing. Blogging was becoming a thing. Blogging is not even really a thing. You don't hear that no more, being a blogger. But that was a thing back then. And I remember her sharing with me and telling me that you sound like a blogger, like you should start a blog. And she was the reason I started my blog. So shout out to TT Torres. But I just remember so many signs and moments that, kind of led me to where I am right now, and that, was always meant to show that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, like just the path. But everything, all of that, between working for a radio station, because I interned for I had the longest internship ever, 2 years. I was working on doing production and things with Sean Anthony and Big Keith. Shout out to them. My mentor, Sean Anthony. Thank you so much, Sean, for just contributing to me and my, my career, and just helping me along the way, and kind of to know, who I am, reminding me, and helping me to know and develop that young, because I was 19 at the time when I want to say when I met Sean, I was about 19. I think I was 19 years old when I met him. Might be 18. Might have been before I was 19. I don't remember. But so I was young, and he was, helping me and teaching me and giving me insight and good advice, and just a lot of it I use and I quote a lot. I find myself quoting maybe something very specific he told me about adders, subtractors, multipliers, and dividers, which I'll never forget it. And I tell people I use that a lot, But anyway, I digress about that. But if you want to know if you want to know exactly about that piece of advice, I'll say more. Or if you want to know, let me know. But just a lot of that kind of led me to know what I'm supposed to be doing. Just the people that I've come across, the people that I met, but everything that was always on the side. I always did my love and my passion on the side. I never was able to do it full time, dive all the way in and leap all the way in, or find that I always did the thing that was safe, but everything in my life has led me to know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel like it's in my DNA. It's who I am. It's a part of me. It's my makeup. Yeah. So anyway, why didn't I pursue journalism the traditional way? Well, because it wasn't safe, wasn't easy. I had bills, I had life, I had responsibility. I had my family that, not like a family of my own, like kids and a husband, but I was, I was always the daughter that, I helped. I found myself feeling as though for a long time, that I had to do the safe thing, the easy thing, the thing that, to make money, because I had bills and my family might have needed, help at times. And so I just kind of felt like, I had to be responsible, and journalism if I had pursued it, I wish that I had pursued it younger and more eager. I had moments I did it, but it was always on the side. It was never I didn't pursue it in the way. And then the journalism landscape changed too. So it was well, okay. So it was this weird space of the direction and where am I going and what am I doing? I started blogging. I did that for a long time. Then I was writing for other publications. I did that online because online publications was a thing at that time. A lot of publications were, it wasn't, print publications weren't anymore, or weren't like they, at one point they used to be. Then they went away, and then everything was online. So I just think that, and I did do that, but I was doing that for a long time. Everything I did was basically, I was, you got to have a love for this thing, your passion, right? I did a lot of it free. I was free. I mean, free, not just freelancing. I was free. I was not getting paid. Up to the last time I wrote for the Jasmine brand, that was paid. The last time I wrote for them. And that was in 2021. That was the first time I'd ever gotten paid for my writing. And I've been writing since 2013. I was blogging before that on my own. But then I started writing the Jasmine brand the first time was in 2013, I want to say, right? I think it was 2013. So from 2013 to 2021, the publications and everything in between that I had written for, I was not getting paid. And yeah, so you guys, so why didn't I pursue journalism in a traditional way? I don't know. Other than I felt like it didn't come, it easy. I needed money. I needed to work to survive, to pay bills, and everything else felt it was easier, to fall back on like all of my, but so my passion tended to take the back seat, or that was the side hustle. That was my passion on the side. That was my but that was never my bread and butter. I never pursued it in that way. And I knew that it would take more boldness. And I guess in a way I was afraid of that too, to really step out and make that thing happen because it wasn't the easy thing, Okay, so how did my corporate experience shape me as a storyteller? I don't know. It taught me what I love and what I don't. That's for sure. So it shaped me as a storyteller to know that to one, have stories in life, dealing with people in a different way and having different careers, It taught me to appreciate storytelling and my creativeness. It taught me to appreciate that for sure, to appreciate my love for that. And that honestly, when I'm not doing that, like I'm not well, like when I don't have a creative outlet or to engulf myself in that in some way, like I gotta be able to like immerse myself in it. Like I have to have that. If not, like I tried to do it for I tried to do it for some years. And that's why I started writing in 2021 again, because I had stopped writing in 2019. And then through the early part of the pandemic, like when the pandemic took place in 2020, like I wasn't writing at all. A lot happened in 2019 when I moved and got back in school. I graduated in 2021 from college. I finally got my degree, my bachelor's degree in business administration. So I had moved. I had another life event that happened in 2019. So a lot happened and I wasn't able to, I needed money. I needed to work, sustain my lifestyle changed. I had moved out on my own. I just had a lot that was going on that I wasn't able to give my all to the publication I was writing for, which I actually loved, The Quintessential Gentleman. I love writing for them. And I had been striving and asking and trying to, at the time, they probably are now, I'm sure. But I was like, I've been doing this for no money for so long. Like, I need to be able to get paid. And my lifestyle should change where I wasn't able to just I'm like, I'm taking time free. This has to be paying me at this point. So I stopped and I just I didn't have the bandwidth at the time to do everything, school, work my regular job, that I just didn't have the bandwidth. So I told myself the next time that I write or that I'm doing my love and my passion, I want to be able to get paid for it. Whether and at that point, then I said, hey, well, I wrote 2021, Jasmine Brand. And then I said, took another couple years and at that point I was working. And again, the bandwidth, I was working at the government. At that point, I just wasn't able to do. And, I was like, I want to create again, but I want to kind of see, do my YouTube channel. And I decided to do that and kind of jump out on faith a little bit because, do some new things. I felt like in 2024, I wanted to do improv and just kind of like experiment and just be bold. And I was like, oh, do I want to move to California? I, kind of started entertaining that and I get in a real way and all of that stuff. And so I started my YouTube channel and really trying to grow my own brand. And so, yeah, I don't think that answered the question. I think I don't know if it did. But anyway, what skills did I gain that actually help me now? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. What skills that I gained during corporate experience? I don't really know specific skills that I gained because I feel like I don't really know what I gained specifically from corporate experience that helps me now. Just what I don't love versus what I do love. I mean, that's it. That's the skill. Skills. I mean, I guess it all ties in. Everything that I've learned, whether it be customer service, how to talk and how to deal with people, not being afraid, failure. I don't know if that just came with age because, I don't know that had anything to do with corporate. I think that just got to a point in age in life where I was like, you know what? I just want to be bold. I just don't want to be afraid of failing. That's held me back for a lot of my life. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I don't really know what specific skills, because everything that I don't know that I put any of that on corporate. other than just customer service and how to deal with people in a different way, a different landscape. I don't know how to answer that question. If I could go back, would I do anything differently? Yeah. I would have went to New York a long time ago. I would have did communication. I would have done yearbook. I would have done all the things it pertain to writing a newspaper in high school. I would have done that. I definitely would have done newspaper, and I would have done communications in high school. Because I feel like I was a late bloomer in a lot of ways. I would have moved to New York, if not right out of high school. I probably would have done an internship, and right after my internship at radio, I probably would have moved to New York. Or once I got that advice from TT Torres to start a blog, which I think I started in 2011 or 2012. Right after that, that was around the time when I told my boyfriend at the time that I wanted to move to New York. I would have moved. I would have done it. I would have done it then. I would have done it then. I wish I had. So anyway, that's what I would have done. The sum of what I would have done differently. What did I think my career would look like versus what it actually looks like? Well, right now, my career is in the air. My career is not on stable ground at all right now. I don't really know. As far as like my journalism career, that is very much, I am writing again, trying to get new clips because my last clips were in 2021. So I really don't have anything 2019 and 2021. So I don't have any like recent writing or clips that besides like, no, it doesn't really count. My Substack, because I had my Substack going like in 2024, but it was no original like pieces or anything. It was just basically like me talking about the episode of like the podcast, but it was nothing really like nothing that that doesn't count. So I don't have any original clips that I've done like in like recent. And so I'm like really just trying to write again, get back in the flow of that so I can at least have recent clips. I worked on doing my portfolio. So when I send people, I have a portfolio, I have clips to show that I have recent writing. So I've just been trying to work on that. But what my career looks like right now, I'm applying for opportunities. I'm looking for opportunities. I really want to like network and really get myself out there, even send some cold emails and see what opportunities can come about, because I really want to do this journalism thing. I really want to write full time. I really want to write. I want to edit. I want to be in the publishing. I want to be a journalist full time and whatever, producer, whatever it, I want to do the things I want to create full time for a living. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I thought by now that what I actually thought my career would look like, I don't know. Honestly, if you had asked me this before last year, I thought I would still be at the government, and I thought that I would be, you had transferred, moved to LA, transferred out there in LA, trying to pursue, working, still doing my podcast and everything right now, which I'm, doing all of that. I thought I'd be doing that. I thought that, which I am doing, still doing improv. I just thought that, I don't know, I was actually focused on film and TV and wanting to get into that. But so that's what I actually thought it probably would look like. But what it actually looks like is I'm figuring it out right now and trying to get this. I want to get back into my journalism. So, but full time. That's what I'm trying to do. All right. So let's see. Ooh, these are a lot. Oh yeah. I'm not going to be able to answer all these questions, y'all. This episode's already over an hour. Oh my God. Okay. So let's get into some present. Where you are now? Like questions. And I got the future and vision. I got journalism specific favorites and influences, which that's the part that I can't wait to get to. And then print magazine era, pop culture, tie-in, real and personal, light, funny. I got a lot of questions, and those are just the categories. So I have a lot of questions. So, but I'm going to get into I guess I'm going to do this one last section, and we're going to break this up, and I'm going to get back to this, and this is going to be a second episode. So we're going to do this one. We're going to see how this goes. This is like a test issue. Hey, a test issue. You guys, this is a test. Let's just say a test episode. I'm not going to say a test issue like it's a magazine, but this is a test episode. We'll see how this goes, and then we'll do the next one, and then we'll see how that goes, and then we'll see what happens next. Might be trying to bring somebody on. Yeah, all the things. I don't know, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, so how does my podcast reflect my identity as a journalist? Well, I mean, it's podcasting is still a way of it's communication. It is still a way of getting it out, talking, interviewing, because I'm still very much interviewing people, which has always been my favorite thing to do. I love interviewing people. I love writing interviews, doing Q&As. I love writing, not just Q&As, but like I love taking the question, taking the answers and putting them in a story. Like I just love the art of interviewing. I love that very much. That's my favorite form of journalism. Honestly, if I get in the story, telling the story. So I did that when I do that on my podcast. I've gotten away from interviewing because, I kind of, with all the move stuff, I stopped interviewing and stopped that because I just didn't have the bandwidth and the capacity to bring people on and go through the booking process because I'm doing all the things and then bring them on and then scheduling and interviewing. And then I got to edit and got to be more precise because it's not just me. I got to make sure that I'm considering who the subject and, what their opinion and how they feel about, what they, I have to be, it's not just me. So I kind of cut out the interview part of my podcast, but I do want to get back into that. So, because that's always what I loved. So that's how the podcast reflects my identity as a journalist. It's still storytelling. It's just a different way. It's still me being a journalist. I'm still reporting. I'm still talking about the people and telling the stories and sharing people's lives and stuff. So anyway, am I already doing journalism without calling it that? Yeah, I believe I have been this whole time. What makes my perspective different? I'm me and I can only be me. So that automatically comes with a different perspective. I'm not like everybody else. I can't be like everybody else. I can only be myself. So what makes it different? I'm real. I have a unique journey. My journey is not like anyone else's. So that automatically comes with a different perspective. Yeah, it comes with a different perspective because my journey is mine and mine alone. And so the things I've done in life and things I've seen and things I've done, and that automatically makes my perspective different than anyone else's. And I believe in authenticity. So I'm not just trying to get clicks. Again, the integrity. I'm not just out here trying to get clicks, and I'm not just out here talking about things that I'm just, I'm not doing that either. I like real, grounded in real stories, and that's what I appreciate. Real storytelling. What kind of conversations am I drawn to now? Music, always music, which I kind of believe I might have talked about this a bit. But music, I am drawn to hip hop, heavy, like really been getting always drawn to now. I mean, these are things that I've always, but again, after being reminded who I am and really like tapping back into that and trying to tap back in after rediscovering who I am and I'm like, ooh. This is always what I've done, always what I've listened to. But now I'm like reporting on the things, like talking about the things that I had not talked about, the conversations that I had not had, like, new artists like El Mean, artists that I'm really excited about. Like those type of conversations I'm really attracted to right now. Like talking about El Mean and Baby Rose and just so many artists, the Womack sisters, artists that I'm really excited about, talking about them and how I feel like they're saving the culture and music and so many like R&B and just soul music because it's not what it used to be, but I believe that they are saving it. Artists like that. So I'm really drawn to those type of conversations, and it's about music and entertainment. What else am I really drawn to? Conversations and stories. I mean, so many. I don't have a specific, I'm just drawn to it's a lot of things. I know that I'm blanking on a few, but those specific, because I know that I've been writing about, and those are the ones that's in my drafts right now that I've been really like working on specifically about like some new artists that I'm really excited about. And, yeah, that's it. Okay, that's at least I'll leave it at that. What topics or stories excite me the most right now? Oh, that's the same question. That's it. How has my content evolved recently? My content has evolved. Well, it's evolved because my Michael Jackson, I will say my content's evolved recently, just because I really leaned into the Michael Jackson of it all since maybe May? Since when the movie come out? April? So May, June, I really leaned into Michael Jackson. So I would say it evolved. It's grown my community tremendously. So yeah, my content's evolved because I think I've just gotten more excited about the things I've talked about. And if I'm not excited about it, if I can't be excited or passionate about it, I'm not I'm very much a passionate person. I love to be passionate about the things that I'm talking about or whatever it is that I'm sharing, or I love to love that. And that's what gets, so recently it's just Michael Jackson really has been the biggest thing that I've talked about. It's just Michael. I don't really know that I've talked about anything else besides Michael Jackson, really, and just my life updates recently. Like that's it. It's been just Michael Jackson. I haven't really covered much else on my channel. So yeah. So I'm trying to, I gotta widen that, and I plan to do more. I plan to do more. What am I learning about my voice? That I have one. I think I'm learning that to be okay with my voice, like to not shy away from it, to be confident in it, and no matter if anyone else agrees or disagrees, like it's my voice, it's what I have to say, and standing in that, whether it be, talking about things that unpopular things, people might be like, whatever, and they might, have an indifferent opinion or whatever about, like, just being okay with, I have a voice and I have a story, and be okay with sharing that. So that's what I'm learning, that I have, I have a voice. Okay. So let's get into real quick, the future and vision. And then I'm going to come back to these next couple parts. Oh, okay. All right. So I thought I was going to get into the part that I'm really excited about, but I probably won't get into that on this episode of the story behind the story. Okay. So how does my podcast reflect my identity no. I'm back to present. Okay. Future and vision. My apologies. What kind of stories do I want to tell moving forward? Well, I mean, that's the thing. I want to talk about music. I am trying to figure out between writing and digital, like, a video format like this. I'm trying to figure out like things that I want to report on, like things I want to talk about, like how, which I believe I talked about on I Pick Passion and Funny on the last episode of that, or the most recent episode of that. I kind of talked about like the stories that I want to tell moving forward. I still want to talk about Michael Jackson. I know I was really doing like more Michael content heavily lately. Just more the Michael Jackson of it all, reactions and all of that. But I won't be doing any more reactions until further notice, because I had a call for help on the I Be Passionate Funny episode. Please help me figure out what I'm missing. And I talked about that on there, so I'm not going to talk about that here, but so that will also maybe determine some of the stories that I want to tell, what I want to do. Cause I don't know, reactions just seem, I don't know that I'm having depends on what the reaction is. I'm not having all the best when it comes to music anyway, and reactions. I'm not having the best luck with them. So, but if it's like interview based and things like that, or talking and not music, I can do those type of reactions. And so I'll probably do maybe some interview. Ooh, that would be interesting to do reactions to some interviews, just maybe interviews. Especially since I love interviews, the art of interviewing. So I love learning and I love interviewing. I love learning from people who have done, who interview, and, and I love doing interviews myself. So because that's something that I naturally love, I wouldn't mind. And I seem to could do reactions, and my reactions are okay when I do interviews. I don't seem to get flagged when I do those type of reactions. So I'll still do reactions. It'll probably be that. And I'll probably diversify it so it won't just be Michael Jackson. I know that I originally said like it would be, I would be covering, this will be a majority of Michael Jackson heavy channel, because I feel like majority of my audience now is here because of my Michael content. And I'm gonna still give y'all some Michael. I'm gonna do all the Michael interviews, believe me, because he does have a lot of. So I definitely have some interviews I can do reactions to some more that I have not done yet. So I'll probably do that. I will do that, and I really want to probably open it up to some other artists and things as well, and people I want to talk about. Journalism. That's why we're here. That's why I have this show, because I rediscovered my journalism, my love and my passion for it, and that's who I am, and so. I want to talk to some journalists. I want to talk about journalism. I want to do all of that. So yeah, that's the kind of stories that I want to tell. I want to talk about music. I want to talk about entertainment. I want to talk about hip hop. I want to talk about relationships, maybe some lifestyle. I want to talk about, and I don't know, like I said, if it's going to be between writing, so I'm writing and I'm getting my clips up, but if it's going to be between that, or if it's going to be maybe both. Some stories I might tell, I might talk about it, but then I might write about it. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. So those are just some of the stories I want to tell going forward because they're all things that I'm passionate about and that I care about. I was a Essence magazine girl and I used to love the relationship and the sex conversations about Essence. I loved all of that as well. And Honey magazine and, the girly like magazines that talk about the girl like even Cosmo. Like I was a Cosmo. I mean, Cosmo was traditionally not for us, right? That wasn't they. I don't believe we were we were not their primary audience. We were not their audience, but there were some. We was checking them out. I definitely read some Cosmo. I have some Cosmo magazines. So shout out to Cosmo. Shout out to Cosmopolitan magazine. So yes, who do I want to talk to and why? I want to talk to so many people, y'all. Like I said, I really would love to talk to a lot of my favorite journalists, people that I love, and get to know the story behind the story, their journeys, some stories, some good entertaining stories, that personal experiences that they've had and some funny stories. And I want to talk to some journalists. I might want to maybe talk to some MJ fans, in the community and maybe bring them on and some other creators. MJ fan creators and us just collab and talk about MJ or, talk to some people that knew MJ. Like, honestly, y'all, that thought just overwhelmed because I feel like I'm low key overwhelmed with all the things because I'm like, I just want to talk to people. But I'm like, oh my gosh, do I even have the bandwidth? Right now, I'm still trying to find right now, honestly, I need to work. I need to work. And so it's kind of hard for me I'm just trying to balance everything. And so, but I have all these thoughts and all these ideas, but I'm like, which direction do I lean in more first? Like, what do I do? And who do I talk to? So I don't know who I want to talk to. So many people. I mean, I could give you specifics. All the journalists that I have ever loved and more, I mean, all of my superheroes, like I want to talk to them, whether it be Daytwine, maybe even have him talk to him again. I've never talked to him on a video format. It was, written, it was a Q&A that I did for Made magazine. So I never talked to him video. I would love to do this and talk to him on here, bring him back. Shaniqua, bring her back, talk to her visual as well. And Danielle Smith and Rob Kenner. I mean, like Demetria Lucas, Essence Magazine. She was the relationship editor there. She inspired me to love and talk about relationships and sex and be okay in that space, like talking about those things. She was my inspiration for that. She was my first inspiration when it comes to, talking about those topics and conversation. And I mean, so many people, like I'm blanking because there's so many. Elliot Wilson. Bones Malone. I mean, like, I'm sure y'all like, yeah, there's names. I could name drop all of them. These are all people these are superheroes to me. Shaheem Reed, come on, Adele Henderson. Like, these are people that are big deals to me. Like, these people don't even but they don't know, but they will know. These people are superheroes to me. So those are just some of the names. So because for the sake of this show, this series, I will talk about those names specifically of people I want to talk to, but there are more. I mean, if just in general and like figuring out as a journalist, there are people that I want to talk to, not other journalists, but not only other journalists, but I want to talk to in general. I want to write about, I want to write and interview some amazing artists. I would love to talk to the El Means and the Womack sisters and all of these amazing artists today that I believe are saving the music and the culture. Like, I would love to talk to them. I mean, like, it's just so many artists. Jay-Z, Beyonce. I mean, come on, like my dream, like, let's not stop playing. I want to talk to everybody. Okay. What kind of platform am I building? I'm building a real platform, and I keep using that word real because that's the truth. Like, I want to tell real stories. I want to have, this is a real platform with with real integrity, community. I'm, inspiring. Hopefully it's an inspiring platform, educating and also entertaining platform. That's what I'm building. Okay. All at the root of my journalism. So, okay. What does success look like for me in this space? Being able to pay my bills, first and foremost, being able to pay my bills and sustain my lifestyle. Like, that's what success, being comfortable, not being like, not living paycheck to paycheck, but really being able to say that, hey, I'm comfortable in this space and I can pay my bills. First and foremost, I can travel. That's success for me. Have money saved. Like one day I just pray to be able to do that within this space. Like, do I see myself in traditional media or creating my own lane? Both. I still want to very much have my own platform, my own brand, but I also very much would love to do traditional media. I would love to work for the vibes and do like freelance, whether it's freelancing or whether it is a actual position, a job working for one of these publications, magazines, whether it's the complex of it all, or which I was also a Complex magazine fan very much as well. Man, like, yeah, both. What would my dream interview look like? Well, I kind of already said my dream interview has always been to sit down with Jay-Z and Beyonce both, because they don't do very many interviews, even individual, right? But if I could get the both of them together, has anybody done that? Hold on, wait. Has anybody ever sat down with them both to interview them at the same time? Like, or interview about their relationship, their careers, how they're I don't know that anybody. That's my dream interview. That's always been my dream interview. First of all, it's my favorite rapper, greatest of all time, and my favorite, she still is one of the greatest of all time, undeniably. Like, she's Beyonce, right? I'm not denying that, but I have expressed on this channel that my love for Beyonce has still love Beyonce, but my love is not the same as it used to be. I was a childhood lover of Destiny's Child, and I was a Beyonce fan, still am, but I'm a distant Beyonce fan at this point. I don't follow Beyonce's career. Like, I was still very much, if she does an interview or something, I'm still going to be like, what is she talking about? Right. I still will check out her hits of music. I still have her music. I still will give her music a chance. But in my Apple Music, I'll still check out if she has a new album. But I'm just not a fan as I used to be. My fandom has changed for Beyonce. But because that was my childhood, she was my favorite singer of all time. So because of that, I would love to sit down with the both of them. That was the funny thing about it. I was like, I always felt like my favorite rapper and my favorite singer, they worked together. When I remember I was like, what? Like, back in the day when they first got together, I was just like, everybody was speculating for a long time. And then when it was confirmed, I was like, I knew it. When they did Bonnie and Clyde, and it was just like, we've been on to y'all, So I remember just the excitement of knowing that they were together. And it was like, my favorite singer, my favorite rapper. So that would be my dream interview. What am I ready to step into next? What God has for me. I am open. I'm applying. I'm open, y'all. Hey, any of y'all out there, need work. So whatever God has for me, whether it be New York, whether it be Cali, whether it be remote, which I still would love to move regardless, whether I'm working in DC, whatever, I'm definitely still want to move, but I'm open to New York. I'm open to New York again. I'm open to Cali as well, of course, as I was still my love for California, my love for LA. Like, come on. First of all, beaches, warm weather, like, that's probably why, I kind of gave up my whole New York thing besides the media landscape, but in journalism landscape. But, I was like, it's cold. It get blizzards and snow in New York City, but I will make that sacrifice for the love of my passion, like for the journalism of it all, like my dream job. I will walk through a blizzard. I would. Yes, I would. So, I'm willing to make that sacrifice at this point in life, for what I love. So anyway, so what's next for me? Whatever the good Lord has for me. And on that note, I'm going to end this episode. And we're going to get back on the next one. We're going to get back in to all the thick of things. Journalism specific, who some of my favorite journalists are, which I think I've already kind of touched on just a few names, but we're going to talk about more specific journalism specific questions and some favorites and some influences, which again, print magazine era. We're going to talk about that, all the print magazines. I'm going to gush over all of that because I'm a fangirl over all of that. I'm going to get to relive all of that. And I'm gonna end by saying this, and I don't know, because this probably will come up, real and personal, some light, fun personality questions. Like, oh, those are gonna be fun. I can't wait for the next. I can't wait for this. Stay tuned, y'all, and let me know what y'all think about this as I'm developing it in real time. But yeah, I was the girl who used to, and this is how I knew. I was the girl who would sit in my grandmother's bathroom. My grandma, my mom's mom, my grandma. Love you and miss you, Grandma. Rest in peace. I would sit in her bathroom for hours. My grandmother had crates in her bathroom of magazines, old Ebonies and Jets, and old Ebonies, old Jets, new magazines, newer at that time, but also very old. She had like 3 crates in her bathroom. And I remember when she passed away, I tried to get those magazines, but my uncle, I don't know what he did with them. I'm not sure, because he went through and he did a lot of the cleaning of the house. I remember asking him about them, and he did not know. He might have thrown them away, honestly, because like I said, everybody's not passionate or didn't see the value in magazines like me and like some of us, right? Everybody doesn't see it. So I remember trying to get those magazines because I was like, that was my childhood. I remember as a little girl, young girl, sitting in my grandma's bathroom for hours, and just the contentment of sitting there and reading and watching, looking at the pictures and reading the articles, reading pieces, but even before I could even read, I remember just sitting in there and just read. I remember just looking at her magazine, so fascinated by them. And I was that girl. I was the girl who collected magazines, who, like I said, I would rather have a magazine than donuts or anything to eat, animal crackers. Like, what? Give me the magazine. That was me. Like, those were some of my earliest memories of my love for journalism and print specific publications. Like, that was my love, y'all. Still is. So anyway, I say all that to say, till the next one, let me know what y'all think about this platform, about how, what we're doing, this new idea, the story behind the story, starting with my own. Let me know what y'all think. Thank you so much for being here. And until the next one, hit that subscribe button. By the way, if you're new here, go ahead, hit that so you know what's going on and you can keep up with all the things. And I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for watching, guys.